All right, angle of light. In the last lecture, we talked a lot, or talked all about concept of three-point light. You have your key, you have your backlight, and you have your fill light. Now, those are just sort of generic placements for you can really place a key anywhere. You can place a backlight anywhere, technically, but in terms of what effect they're going from, will depend upon where you place the light. You always need to think about the position of your lights because where you put your light tells your audience things that they don't realize they're being told. It can convey emotion, but also has to have some logic to it. All right, in terms of emotion, when you place your key light on the far left or far right of a subject is very dramatic. As you see here, because you have so much shadow on this side of the face. Now this is an instance also where they had almost no backlight and no fill light whatsoever. Your key is just all going against their face there, and very dramatic, and that will cause a very dramatic look. So again, you put your key light on the far side of the face, either far left, far right, very dramatic. If you place your key light above your subject, it has a dramatic as well, but in a very different way. And what it does there is that it kind of usually darkens their eyes, so it makes them very foreboding. This person looks very intense, looks very angry. It's because that light right above them, and the reason why is because you can't see those eyes. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But when you're lighting, if you want to have someone seem scarier, put the light above them. Have you ever seen the original film The Godfather? Marlon Brando's character is almost entirely lit with a light right above his head. So his eyes are almost always in shadow. It's a very famous lighting technique used in that film to make his character seem soulless, seem dark, seem angry and empty. The other way, putting the light just below the subject also makes them look scary. This is essentially when you were a kid putting the flashlight under your chin to light up to make you look spooky. This again looks scary because it's not normal and it goes against what are used to seeing light coming from. I think that's part of the reason why it's so scary. It makes really unusual shadows, especially around the eyes as well. Typically, if you're going for a natural look, you want the light to mimic, the direction of the sun at about mid-morning. In other words, most typically, you will put the light about 45 degrees off angle from your subject, about 45-degree angle pointed down at them. So the light will be above them, pointed down at them at roughly a 45 degree. And this will look the most natural because it's just what we're used to when we're outside. Just like composition, you need to think about what kind of mood you want to set by placing your cameras. Like when we talked about in cameras, we're talking about placing somebody on the left side of the screen or right side of the screen. Put someone on the left side of the screen, they feel like they have a place to go. Put someone on the right side of the screen, feels like they've reached an ending, positive versus negative space. When you're talking about lighting, you have to be careful that you don't put the light too high or too low because again it can make your subject look frightening when you don't want them to look frightening, or it can make them look eerie when you want them to look natural, or maybe you want them to look eerie but you make them look natural, all because of the lighting. But we are not done yet along those lines. No matter what you're doing with your lighting, you need to be very careful of your eye light. Now, I talked about the Marlon Brando lighting from The Godfather, where you couldn't see his eyes. Go check out any clip of Marlon Brando from The Godfather, and you'll be hard pressed to see a clear shot of his eyes. The eyes are the windows to the soul, and so whenever you're lighting somebody, whenever possible, you want to see their eyes. As I said, the eyes are the window to the soul. Especially if you need your audience to connect with somebody, they need to see the eyes. Your audience will connect with them. You look in both these instances. Yes, you have some dark shade on the face, but you see their eyes. Their eyes are more prominent. You'll see this time and time again in films and televisions and movies where even though a room might be dark, these little pockets of light where you see people's eyes when you want to hear from them. That's all.